So what is the lease? As standard IS 17 states, lease is an agreement whereby lessor conveys the right to use an asset for an agreed period of time or lease term to the lessee in return for a payment or series of payments. This agreed period is basically lease term that is defined as a non-cancelable period for which the lessee has contracted to lease the asset. Well, if lessee has an option to continue to lease the asset and at the inception of the lease it is certain that this option will be exercised, then lease term includes also this secondary period. Then another important thing to clarify is payment or series of payments to be paid in return for use of asset. Minimum lease payments, words very often used throughout the standard IS 17 and this video itself. These are the payments over the lease term that the lessee is required to pay to the lessor, excluding any cost of services, taxes, etc. If there is certain value guaranteed by the lessee, it also enters into minimum lease payments. Similarly applied for lessor, any value guaranteed to the lessor is a part of minimum lease payments. Standard IS 17 describes treatment of two basic leases, finance lease and operating lease. Primary question when trying to classify them is whether substantially all risks and rewards of ownership are transferred to the lessee. Legal title may or may not be transferred. In fact, this is clear demonstration of substance over form principle. Risks include the possibilities of losses from idle capacity or technological obsolescence, and also variations in return due to changing economic conditions. Rewards basically represent some profits achieved over the asset's economic life from its use, or certain gains from appreciation in value or realization of residual value. So, if these risks and rewards of ownership are substantially transferred to the lessee, the lease is classified as finance lease, and if not, the lease is operating lease. As the lease is nothing else than an agreement between lessor and lessee, logically, these two should classify the lease in the same way. Now you might wonder, can there be a situation where lessor and lessee classify the same lease differently? The answer is yes, occasionally. For example, when lessor benefits from guarantee of residual value provided by the party unrelated to the lessee. In such a case, lessor could classify lease as a finance, but lessee as operating. Why? The trick is to look to the minimum lease payments. For lessor, minimum lease payments represent payments by lessee plus guaranteed residual value by third party. For lessee, minimum lease payments are just payments to be made. And as we will see in a few seconds, testing of proportion between present value of minimum lease payments and fair value of leased asset is critical when classifying the lease. For lessor, this percentage can be significantly higher than for lessee in this particular case, thanks to guaranteed residual value by the third party. Therefore, lessor might classify lease as a finance and lessee as operating.